Yo, imagine this pitch black night, 2 in the morning, and you're standing on the Nile bank. Water's still no sound, then out of nowhere, you hear this scream like tearing your heart out, coming from this old haunted house. Nobody goes near. This house, man, people here say it's cursed, and everyone who went in either never came back or came back, but wasn't themselves. I'm Muhammad, and this is my true story that happened to me 30 years ago, in a small village on the Nile. Back then, I was just a regular dude looking for work to help my family. But what I saw in that house, man, I still dream about it every night. If you got a strong heart, keep going. But if you're scared, I'm telling you, shut the video right now. I was in my 20s working as a builder, fixing up old houses and building simple stuff in villages. I loved my job, felt like I was helping people. One day, a friend of my dad's named Abu Ali told me, "Muhammad, there's a good job, good money, but the place is a bit weird." I didn't think much. I needed the money. My mom was sick, and I wanted to get her treatment. I asked him, "Where is it?" He said, "A small village on the Nile called El Dalal, the misguidance." But I could tell from his voice something wasn't right. I asked him, "Why weird?" He said, "There's this old house there. People call it the House of Horror. Nobody goes near it, and they say strange things happen at night." I laughed and told him, "That's all nonsense, Abu Ali." But he looked at me seriously and said, "Muhammad, by God, if you enter that house, you'll know it's not nonsense." I got to the village after sunset, and the air was heavy like the Nile itself was telling me, "Go back, Muhammad." The village was small brick houses, a few palm trees on the Nile bank. People welcomed me, but their eyes were full of fear, like they knew something and didn't want to say it. One of them, named Abu Sa'id, was the village elder. He told me, "Muhammad, you're here to build a small school, but don't go near the old house at the edge of the village." I asked him why. He said, "That house, something comes out of it at night. Not human, not animal. Something else entirely." I tried to laugh, but inside I felt something was wrong. I told him, "Don't worry, Abu Sa'id, I don't believe this nonsense." He looked at me and said, "Muhammad, by God, if you enter that house, you'll know it's not stories." Part 2. The weird sounds. Started working with 3 young guys from the village, Hassan, Khalid, and Ali. We were building the school a bit far from the old house so we wouldn't get close to it. I tried to focus on work, but my eyes kept drifting to the house. It looked strange, its windows broken, its walls cracked like nobody had lived in it for years. At night, we'd go back to a small room next to the school to rest. But from the first night, I started hearing weird sounds. Footsteps on the roof like someone was walking, then a light knocking on the door that would wake you up. And this distant laugh, man, not a normal laugh, like it was tearing your heart out. First night, I told myself, maybe it's my imagination, or maybe it's the wind on the Nile. But the second night, the sound was clearer. I heard heavy footsteps above the room, then they stopped at the door. My heart started pounding. I got up to see who it was, but Hassan grabbed my hand and said, "Muhammad, don't open it. It's the creature." I was surprised and asked him, "What creature?" Ali, who was sitting in the corner, said in a low voice, "Something comes out of the old house at night, not human, not jinn, something strange." Khalid added, "I heard from my grandpa that whoever sees it either disappears or comes back and isn't themselves." I tried to act like I wasn't scared, but inside I was terrified. I told him, "This is all nonsense, go to sleep and let's rest." But honestly, I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I went to Abu Sa'id to understand more about the house. He was sitting on the Nile bank drinking tea like he was in another world. I asked him, "Abu Sa'id, what's the story of the old house? Why are people scared of it?" He hesitated, but then he spoke. He told me, "This house belonged to a rich merchant 40 years ago named Hajj Salem. He lived there with his family, a normal family. But one night something happened. Nobody knows exactly what. All we know is that Hajj Salem and his family disappeared, like the earth swallowed them. From that moment, the house became abandoned, and people started hearing sounds from it, laughter, screams, footsteps. And everyone who tried to enter it either disappeared or came back, not themselves." I asked him, "What do you mean, not themselves?" He said, "I mean, they come back, but their eyes have something in them, like something else is living inside them." I felt the fear running through my veins, but I told him, "Surely these are just stories to scare people." He looked at me and said, "Muhammad, by God, if you enter that house, you'll know they're not stories." Part 3. Hassan's disappearance days passed while we were working. Sounds, but inside I had a feeling something was going to happen. And sure enough, one day, disaster struck. Hassan, one of the guys working with me, disappeared. We were working in the morning, putting bricks and organizing the school, and suddenly we couldn't find Hassan. We looked for him everywhere in the school, in the village, even on the Nile bank, but we didn't find him. At night, while we were sitting in the room, we heard a scream from afar. It was Hassan's scream coming from the direction of the old house. My heart sank, but I felt I had to look for him. Ali and Khalid were scared, but I told them, "By God, I won't leave my friend." We gathered our courage, took old lamps, and walked toward the house. We reached the front of the the house, and the air was heavy like the wind had stopped. The wooden door was slightly open like it was waiting for us. We went in and dust covered everything. The walls were full of scratches like someone was trying to escape, and there were strange drawings, circles and lines I'd never seen before. I felt like this house wasn't a house, it was a grave. Suddenly we heard Hassan's voice screaming from underground. We searched until we found a wooden door in the floor leading to a cellar. We opened it and went down fearfully. What we saw there, man, something unnatural. Hassan was sitting in a corner, his eyes completely white like the eyes of the dead, and he was laughing an unnatural laugh. Around him were drawings on the ground, a big circle full of strange lines like old rituals. I tried to get closer to him, but he screamed in a voice that wasn't his. "Don't come near! You're ours now!" Ali and Khalid got scared and ran outside, but I couldn't leave him. I went back to the cellar alone, and that's when I saw something I couldn't imagine. Hassan was standing his eyes back to normal, but he was shaking like he'd seen something unbelievable. He told me, "Muhammad, this house isn't a house, it's a gate. There's something here not human, and it wants you to be like it." I felt the fear swallowing me, but I grabbed him, and we tried to get out. But the door leading to the cellar suddenly closed, and the sounds started getting louder. Terrifying laughter, heavy footsteps, and whispers in a language I didn't understand. Part 4, the shocking end. Hassan and I, by some miracle, found a small crack in the wall, squeezed through it, and got out of the house. We ran fast and didn't stop until we reached the Nile bank. But what shocked us was that the villagers were standing there like statues staring at us without saying a word. Their eyes were gleaming with a strange light like they weren't themselves. Abu Sa'id came out from among them and said, "I told you not to go near the house. Now you're part of it." I felt the world spinning around me. I decided to run away from the village immediately. I gathered my things, got on a horse-drawn cart, and took Hassan with me. As we were walking in the darkness on the Nile bank, I felt like something was following us. I looked in the small mirror in the cart and saw something that made my heart stop. Hassan, who was sitting next to me, his eyes had turned white again, and he was smiling in an unnatural way. He told me, "You can't escape, we're with you." I screamed and got out of the cart and ran in the darkness on the Nile bank until my eyes went black and I fell. When I opened my eyes, I was in a distant hospital. They told me they found me on the Nile bank alone. I asked them about Hassan. They said, "There was no one with you? The village?" When they went looking for it, they only found empty land like it had never existed. The old house? It disappeared just like it appeared. But me, I still hear sounds at night, heavy footsteps, soft laughter, and whispers in a strange language. And every time I look in the mirror, I feel like my eyes aren't my own. Man, by God, I dream about that house every night like it's still calling me. What do you think? If you were in my place, would you have entered that house? Or would you have turned back from the first step? Write your opinion in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Share the video with your friends, and let's see who can listen to this story at night. There are more stories coming scarier than this, so stick with me.